How's everybody doing? First of all, I want to thank you, Eric, very much for the super chat. Thank you very much, sir. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. So we got three people inside so far. Marcus, what's up, man? I had to jump on today and I got some more information. I think you guys know about the situation that's going on with the war in Iran. And man, it's like this situation. Hey, Smooth Life, what's up, brother? What's up, Mr. Smooth Life? What's up? It's so good to see. I missed having the StreamYard. As soon as this channel starts to grow a little bit more, and I get a little bit more financial support, I will hook up StreamYard back again. But StreamYard is expensive. It's like about 50 something dollars. Um, it's like 50 something dollars a month. So it's pretty expensive. But hopefully, pretty soon, as the channel grows, I will be able to get it back pretty soon because I miss doing presentations and everything like that. I really miss doing those, showing videos and all that type of stuff. Yeah, it's good to see you, Smooth Life. Let me see. So far, we got three people in the live so far. I'm just going to wait just a little bit longer to bring more people in. But man, I got some information for you guys, man. It don't look good at all with this war, man. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Only thing we can do is just pray, man. Just pray that God will intercede because this is really getting ready to get really nasty. And matter of fact, I just heard that Vladimir Putin, I mean Russia, are doing World War III nuclear drills right now. So this situation can easily spiral into World War III easily. Hey, what's up, brother? What's up, Chris? How you doing? Hey, man, I just want to thank you so much for that information that you sent me on Instagram, man. Yeah, that was some really good information. Thank you very much, Chris. If this is your first time on this channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and also I want you to subscribe to Process the Journey. His name is Mr. Chris. He has a new YouTube channel, and one thing about Chris, he really knows how to navigate really well. He knows how to, if you want to go to Colombia, like Barranquilla, Santa Marta, Cartagena, Medellin, if you don't know how to navigate, he will be the man to talk to. Okay, he will be the man to talk to. It's called Process the Journey. His name is Chris. Y'all see it right here. He does a very good job telling you how to navigate, being safe when you navigate through Colombia because you got to know what you're doing when you're traveling to Colombia. Colombia is a very beautiful place, but at the same time, it can be a very dangerous place too if you don't know, where to go, what to do, where not to go, where not to. But Chris, he really knows how to, you know, navigate, through these through these different cities there. So I highly recommend you all just take time, like and subscribe to Process the Journey, okay? And Eric, again, I want to thank you again for the super chat. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the other super chats that was sent to me from the last live. I really appreciate that. And if you want to, you can also join it. You could join the channel too. That would be very helpful too. I give financial advice on my WhatsApp app to all my members. You could join the WhatsApp group, and I give a lot of financial information, like the stock market and, you know, about building wealth. You know what I'm saying? And you will not be disappointed at that. You know what I'm saying? You won't be disappointed, okay? Okay, so before we get into the meat, of this live, that's one thing I just want to say to expats and people that travel. I'm just going to hit on the travel space just a little bit here. For those of you who are here on my channel for the first time, this is what we talk about. We talk about geoeconomics, geopolitical stuff sometimes, but it's not a political channel. And we talk about the travel space. We talk about dating. We talk about just about everything on here. So you won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed. You will really get some good information. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Would definitely appreciate it. So what I just want to tell you guys, if you go into a different country, if you're dating these women, if you go into like Thailand or you go into Colombia, or you really need to calm down. Just calm down. You know what I'm saying? I think one of the biggest mistakes that expats, what they do is they create a narrative, okay, of what they think that the women should be that they go meet. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed I'm seeing a lot of these Instagram videos and I'm seeing these YouTube shorts and they're showing these Thai women and everything looking all pretty and stuff and talking about, that would they make a good wife for you and they do this and they do that for you and they do this. But you don't understand the other part of it. You don't understand the other part. The other part can be very damaging. Most of those women, I'm going to be honest with, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of these women are interested in one thing. And a lot of them are interested in your money. And that's the reason why that you're seeing so many expats are taking their lives in Thailand. They're jumping off of balconies and they're doing the same thing in Colombia too. Because what happens is I think they put too much expectations about going to a foreign country, creating their own narrative, how they think it's going to turn out, what type of woman you're going to meet, you a submissive Thai woman, whatever. But then when it doesn't go the way that you want it to go, then you become extremely depressed. And not only that, I did a video about 3 weeks ago about an individual in the Philippines. He lost over $800,000. And you hear this all the time. I want you to hear something. Check this out. These are the type of videos that you need to be careful of. Just 1 second here. I'm going to pull this up for y'all. Let me see here. Okay, here we go.
Why do so many Thai women marry foreigners? In several Western countries, Thai women rank near the top in international marriages. This pattern has reasons. 1. Global exposure. In Bangkok, hearing different languages on the street is normal. When foreign does not feel foreign, cross-border relationships feel natural. 2. Harmony over confrontation. In Thailand, harmony matters. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," she might say, "Maybe we can try another way." Conflict is softened. That kind of stability stands out. 3. Family is central. You do not just marry a person, you marry a family. If he fits the family, nationality matters less. 4. Marriage is serious. Choosing a partner, especially from abroad, is rarely casual. It is discussed, considered carefully. It is culture, expectations, compatibility. In that environment, cross-border love is not unusual. It looks intentional.
This is Democracy Now! Democracy.
Okay, you see what I'm saying? They create this narrative. They show you all these beautiful women. And then guys, they go there, they take their retirement, they take everything, and they don't think about it, and they just go. But the sad part about it, they get with the wrong woman, okay? And these women they could be very, very crafty. They could be very crafty. They could be extremely crafty. But let me tell you this: once they take your money, once your money is gone, that's it. They have no use for you anymore. You're nothing. Hey, what's going on? Bishop Bonds, how you doing? Welcome to the channel, man. Yeah, some guys need to set. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. You're absolutely right, man. They need a sanity test. And like I said, they just drop all their defenses. They fall into these women and they talk about they want to build a life with them. Let me ask you a question. How can you build a life with somebody that you don't even know? You don't know absolutely nothing about them. And I've gotten so much information, and it's just really sad, of older men, especially men my age and older. They look at these videos and they see all these beautiful girls dancing around, looking all pretty with the long pretty. They are very pretty women. They're gorgeous. Those are really, pretty women. And you know what? I do understand how you feel because we're ignored here in the States. I know how you feel. I know how it feels to be ignored all the time. And then you go to a different country like Thailand, Brazil, Colombia, and you get a lot of attention. That's why I go to Colombia all the time because I get a lot of attention. I do. I get tons of attention. As soon as I step off the cab, after the cab drops me off at the resort hotel, as soon as I step out the cab, they got the red carpet. People coming to the door, greeting me. Girl come around from the desk, giving me a big hug. Offer me, do you want this? Do you want lemonade? You want this? Grab my bags for me. Take them up to the room. Say, can I get you something? Give me a card. We can bring me a plate of food. I like being treated that way. You don't get treated this way in the States. You don't. I work a lot. I work in a hospital environment. Up and down the elevators, up and down the halls, going to the cafeteria, going to different places. Most women, I'm not saying all women here are bad. I'm not saying that. But most of them just pass you up. Don't say nothing. Like good morning on their phone. Constantly on their phone. You step in the elevator, you may be sitting there may be a woman right there that you're interested in talking to. She's on her phone. Always getting ignored here. It's always ignored. So I do understand when you go to a different country and women pay you attention, it's like culture shock in a way. It's like culture shock because you're not used to attention. But what's sad about that, some of these females there, they feed into that. They make you feel good. They do, they come up. Like it was one guy I did a video on. I'm gonna tell y'all this, then we're gonna get into the meat of the video. Um, he met a Filipino girl. And I'm not saying all these women are bad. There are some good women there. I'm just telling you to take your time when you go there. That's all I'm saying. Don't just make a complete decision. When you see a video like this, and then all of a sudden you pulling out your retirement and 401k, and then you take it straight off, overseas, say, oh, I'm going to fall in love. I'm going to build a life with someone. And that's what a lot of men are doing. And it can be devastating. Let me tell you what happened to this one guy, okay? Let me tell you what they usually do. And this happens in the Philippines a lot. And this happens in Thailand. And sometimes this may happen in Colombia too. You meet a woman, right? You connect with her. You think you connect with her. And then she begin to fish out of you like what you do, are you retired? Do you got this? How much money do you make? Financially, she try to fish you out of how much, that you make and how much you're worth, right? And then she began to spend time with you and everything. Y'all go on dates. Then you invite her to your house. And then she cooks for you. She does all this stuff for you. Kind of clean up around the house. And so what she do is she'll begin to spend more and more and more time with you, okay? I want y'all to listen to this. She'll begin to spend more and more and more and more time with you. Then the second step is what she does is she'll ask to move in with you. Then you get really used to her being around, right? She'll sleep with you every night, shower with you every morning, cook breakfast for you, do all this stuff for you. But then here comes the money part. Then she'll come and tell you, oh, wow, my grandmother is sick and, she's going to the hospital, she has surgery. It's going to cost, this, for the hospital bill. And then you pay that. You say, oh, that's no big deal. You know what I'm saying? You pay that. But then it becomes more and more and more and more. She began to ask for more stuff. And then she started getting into the big items, like investing into businesses. Like she wants to own her own restaurant. And believe it or not, a lot of retirees, they fall for it. One guy pulled $4,000 out of his retirement. Okay? And then she began to talk about other investments that, we're trying to build. They'll tell you that story. We're trying to build a life together. Yeah, reverse extortion. Hey, what's up? What's up? I said, when the demon tells you the priest to get out of the child. Yeah, okay. Jesus told us we are the temple and find God must we go within of the creation, faith activated by this. Absolutely. Don't bring Jesus to this. He's other problems he's doing right now. Right, okay, right. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm gonna tell you is what happens is they get everything they can get out of you. They get everything they can get out of you, right? And then this is the sad part. Then when you start getting broke, when you start providing, when you don't have the money coming in anymore, this is the first thing they're going to do. She's going to get a suitcase and start putting things in the suitcase. And then she's going to tell you, say, you know what, my father's really sick. I need to go back home for a while, Once they do that, they're done with you. It's over. If you don't got no money, that's it. You're done. You're done. If you don't got no money, you're done. And there have been plenty of men that have been left in Thailand broke with no money, and relatives had to come and rescue them. This happens all the time. This happens all the time. So I'm just telling you all, don't fall for these videos that you see. It gives you like this rosy, fairy tale picture of how things going to be when you get down there. You're going to meet the girl of your dreams and you're going to live happily ever after and you are going to build a life together. I mean, it can happen. What's up, Josh? What's up, brother? It can happen, but the odds of it happening is very extremely low. And let me tell you, in Colombia, you're not going to meet your wife in Parque Jarras. You're not going to meet your wife in Provenza. You know where you more likely to meet the woman that you want to fall in love with? Because there's too many guys that go down to Medellin. They say, oh, all the girls down here, that's all they want is your money. If that's all you go is Parker Jerry's, yeah, yeah. Is all you go is to the clubs, yeah. Is all you go to Provenza walking around looking for working girls, yeah, that's all you're gonna get. But from what I heard is that the good girls in Colombia are at home. They are in the house. They are in the house. And I heard a lot of good places where you can go. You could go to the mall. I met a lot of nice women at the mall. What's that language? They got this place where you can go. It's called language exchange, where they be trying to learn English and you learn Spanish. I heard a lot of people had a lot of good luck there. Maybe even going to church or going for those big walks that they have in Lorelis. You know what I'm saying? There are places to go to meet good quality people. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to jump. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting ready to jump into the meat of this video. And I have some very interesting news for you guys. Here, let me pull this up here. Let me see. The situation in Iran is getting worse. There's more attacks that's happening on Israel. There's more attacks that's happening into the regional areas like Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, all those places. And multiple military bases are being hit. But the thing that's really sad about this whole situation that the U.S. is doing is that we've been here before. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And we're getting ready to make the same mistake, but this time I believe this is going to be a much bigger mistake. And this has the potential of becoming like World War III, because let me tell you something. The Iranians said they are not going to back down. They are not going to back down. Now, I just heard too. Hold on for a second. Let me get something to drink. 1 second. All right, sorry. Here, get something to drink. My voice. Sometimes I need to drink something. Well, I heard something. Oh my gosh. They're thinking about that they may have to send in U.S. troops. If they do that, oh my God, it's going to be bad. This is not going to be a 3-week or 4-week exercise. It's not. If they put troops, boots on the ground, this situation is going to be much worse than Iraq or Afghanistan. and you're talking about casualties, and you're talking about expanding the war. Let's see here. YouTuber Gabriel Trevor was in Qatar. He took a 7-hour taxi ride and a border crossing into the UAE in some small city. He plans to go to Oman since they are a neutral country and Iran is not attacking. Oh, okay, yeah. But they're attacking a lot of countries. But I told you guys briefly on the last live. I say anytime that we try regime change in a country, it never works. We have tried this before and it didn't work. But I think this could be the ultimate mistake that the U.S. make if they do go, if they keep. I'm just giving my opinion. I want y'all to listen to this reporter. It says this could be another disaster. This could be a really big disaster.
Now.org. I'm Amy Goodman. Israel is also escalating its bombardment of Lebanon, where officials said today at least another 11 people were killed in an Israeli strike on a hotel in a Beirut suburb and a residential complex in eastern Lebanon. Israel also announced a wave of attacks across southern Lebanon. Lebanese authorities told Al Jazeera an estimated 65,000 people have been displaced in Lebanon due to Israel's attacks. This comes as Iran continues to launch retaliatory strikes at U.S. and Israeli targets across the region, including the U.S. Embassy and CIA station in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the U.S. consulate grounds in Dubai, and the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East.
I told you guys there have been multiple bases are being hit everywhere.
He said today a ballistic missile fired from Iran had entered its airspace but was destroyed by NATO defense systems. It's unclear whether the missile was targeting Turkey.
Here, the Gulf countries not to respond, not to join the American Israeli onslaught against Iran. They've been taking, of course, a lot of defensive measures, and I would expect Turkey to do the same. None of them want to join an Israeli war of choice, a hegemonic war on the part of the United States, Israel against Iran, not only because most of them don't think it was right and they stood against it, they condemned it, but also because this will even widen further the regionalization of the war as we've seen it.
Absolutely. What is it? What is the purpose of another war that we're going to lose? Absolutely. Because let's go back a little bit. I'm gonna take you guys back a little bit. The war in Vietnam. Okay, we didn't win that war. Okay, multiple casualties in that war. A lot of men was unalive in that war, in the war of Vietnam. That was during the 60s to the getting up into maybe the beginning of the 70s. That was a nasty war. Everybody was talking about the war of Vietnam. Matter of fact, Martin Luther King talked about the war of Vietnam. About sending people. There was a lot of people that was going over there wasn't coming back. But what happened in the war of Vietnam? Who controls Vietnam now? The Vietnamese, the communist. It's still a communist country that we didn't even change. And then we tried to leave. We tried to pull on. People was grabbing the helicopter, saying, "Don't leave, don't leave, don't leave." The Americans left them behind. I saw the videos. That was another phase, the war of Vietnam. Okay, then you go to Desert Storm. George Bush Sr. We had to kick Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait. okay, which still didn't work. We had to come back again under George W. Bush Jr. I think that was called Operation Freedom, if I'm not mistaken. When he talked about the weapons of mass destruction about Saddam Hussein, we went into that war. Lots of casualties, that became a secretary because when we went over there to liberate Iraq from Saddam, and you had people over there that didn't like Saddam, just like you hear some of the people didn't like the supreme leader. They pulled the statue down and everything, dancing around the streets. But when American forces came in for regime change, those same people that was dancing around the streets became our enemy, and they considered us as occupiers. And then it became a sectarian war. When U.S. servicemen was being unalived by the hundreds, roadside bombs, it was horrible. And that lasted for years. I remember watching the casualties as they came back to the United States. I remember. And I sat there with my head down. I was like, oh my gosh. Why? Why is this happening? Then we ended up fighting the war in Afghanistan. The war in Iraq didn't work. Look at Iraq now. It's a failed state. Regime change didn't work. It doesn't work. Then we went into Afghanistan. We spent years over there fighting the Taliban. Saying we was going to nation build over there. They held elections to make Karzai was the president of Afghanistan in Kabul, remember? Then they began to build schools and everything, trying to bring democracy into Afghanistan. But guess what? It didn't work. We left Afghanistan and left the people behind. You remember when Biden ordered to withdraw just like that from Afghanistan? He had people hanging on the planes because they didn't want to be left behind because the Taliban was coming. Guess who occupies Afghanistan right now? It's the Taliban. North and South Korea war, the Korean War. Nobody won that war. Korea was broken up to South Korea and North Korea. And technically, they still at war with each other. But they created a demilitarized zone. So here it is, we're about to do the same thing over and over again. And it seemed like the last few ones should have been a big lesson. I'm not trying to talk negative. I'm not trying to talk bad. But some people seem like they just don't learn from their mistakes. And we're about to make a bigger debacle with Iran. And matter of fact, I just got information that they have given Trump the green light, Congress, to go ahead and go all the way through with this. So they're not going to stop this. They're not going to stop this. I'm just telling you guys, and everybody just prepare for what's getting ready to come. Just get prepared for what's getting ready to come. I've been telling y'all this, I don't know how many weeks. on my videos, they go all the way back. I said that this was going to come. And let me tell you this. The Iranians have officially closed the Strait of Hormuz. If they keep the Strait of Hormuz closed for a certain amount of time, it will have a devastating effect on the global economy. %31% of all ships go through the Strait of Hormuz. And the more that this war keeps going, the more worse it's going to get. And the more other actors going to come in. See, bad choices, mistakes, mistaken. So we should, yep, very big mistake, absolutely. Is that Kool-Aid? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, man, but we're about to make another serious mistake. If they put troops on the ground, it's over. It's over. I hope they don't do it. I've heard that they might do it. They're thinking about putting troops on the ground. But in order to have regime change, you have to have boots on the ground. Airstrikes and stuff is just not enough. You will have to be able to go in there. And I don't see how that's going to work. Well, I want y'all to hear this professor. His name is Professor Jiang. Very smart brother. He predicted before Trump was even in the White House, the second term, that this was going to happen. He predicted when Joe Biden was in office that Trump was going to come into power and that there was going to be a war with Iran. He predicted this. This professor, he actually predicted this. I want y'all to listen to what he says, and I'm going to commentary on what he said. I'm going to go back, and commentary what he's saying, okay? But I found this very, very interesting. Very interesting.
All right, guys, we've got yet another heavy hitter guest and first-time guest on the show. Professor Jiang, he is the star of the popular YouTube channel Predictive History. He uses game theory to analyze past, current, and to predict future geopolitical events. And he joins us now. Professor, great to have you.
Good to see you, sir. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. So, for people who aren't familiar with your work, I wanted to show folks that back in 2024, you made 3 big predictions. 1, that Trump would win. 2, that he would start a war with Iran. And 3, that the U.S. would lose that war. Let's take a listen to that.
In this class this semester, I'm making 3 big predictions, right? First is that Trump will win in November. Second is that the United States will go to war against Iran. And the third big prediction is that the United States will lose this war, which will forever change the global order.
So obviously that last one is the only one that has not yet come to fruition. Is quite a stunning prediction. Do you stand by it, and what have you seen so far that leads you to sort of stand firm in that conclusion?
So given my analysis of how the war is progressing, I think that Iran has many more advantages over the United States. The reality is that right now, it's a war of attrition between the United States and Iran. and the Iranians have been preparing 20 years for this conflict. In their eschatology, in their religion.
You hear what he said? They've been preparing for this war for over 20 years. They've been planning for this war for 20 years. Those people in Iran, they are not playing around. They have been preparing for this war for 20 years.
This is a war against the great Satan. They've had many practice runs. Last June was a 12-day war when the Iranians were able to examine and analyze the strike capacities of both the Israelis and the Americans. And they've had a lot of time, 8 months, to prepare fully for this new attack. They, through their proxies, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Shia militias, have been able to really grasp the American mentality, and now they have a pretty good strategy of how to weaken and ultimately destroy the American empire. So what the Iranians are doing is they're waging war against the entire global economy. And so they are striking the GCC countries. And not only are they striking GCC countries, American bases, they're going after the critical energy infrastructure of these bases. They blocked out the Strait of Hormuz.
Hear what he said? He said they're going after the infrastructure of these bases, you know. So they hitting these targets, infrastructure targets and stuff.
And eventually, they will go after the water desalination plants, which is the lifeblood.
You hear that? You hear that? Did you hear what he just said? He said eventually they will go after the desalination plants. Because the Middle East, you know, they don't got very much fresh water there, so they extract water from the ocean and from the sea. But they have to take the salt out the water to make drinking water. So if they destroy those desalination plants infrastructure, oh my God. Man, you're talking about a big mess. That's what I'm saying. This is what we're facing.
Of these nations, because they don't have fresh water supply. In fact,
no fresh water supply.
Desalination plants provides 60% of the GCC's water supply. So if a drone, and you know these drones cost $50,000, if they wiped out a desalination plant in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and it's a city of 10 million people, right? They'd be out of water in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. And right now, the Iranians have de facto closed off the Strait of Hormuz, and the GCC gets 90% of its food from the Strait of Hormuz. So I know a lot of people are talking about the disruptions to the global economy, but right now, the Iranians are actually threatening the very existence of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar. And why this is important is that the Gulf states are really the linchpin of the American economy. So what they do is they sell petrodollars and then they recycle
Saudi Arabia is,
back into the American economy through the investments.
But Venezuela is the biggest one, though.
And right now we know that the entire American economy is propped up by AI investments in data centers, and a lot of that comes from the Gulf states. So if the Gulf states are no longer able to sell oil, and they're no longer able to finance AI, this AI bubble in the United States, then this AI bubble will burst, and with it will burst as well as the entire American economy, which is really a financial Ponzi scheme.
Right.
So that's a dire situation that the Americans are facing right now.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, sir, an Amazon data center was literally hit in the UAE. And now, of course, big tech companies, which were looking at the UAE as a major potential data center investment hub with cheap and abundant energy, probably going to be rethinking that. We also wanted to talk to you about munitions. We can put this next one up here on the screen. The United States is racing to accomplish Iran mission before munitions run out. This is specifically around interceptor math. There's a famous video just from yesterday in Israel, which shows a single Iranian ballistic missile, which is being targeted by some 11 different interceptors, all of which miss. Most of those come from the United States, not to mention all of the different bases, the GCC countries that you just talked about, and the asymmetry of the cost. It's $1 million for a missile, tens of millions per interceptor in some of these cases. With this munition.
So did you hear that? Each one of those Patriot missiles they use for the Iron Dome in Israel, just one missile costs $1 million. Okay, so when there's a whole bunch of those missiles that go, like when Iran sends those drones over into Israel, and when they use the Iron Dome to try to hit those targets, you're talking about millions of dollars each time they do that.
Is running out. How does that change the global picture? So you're in China, obviously, much of the stocks in Asia of the United States are likely to have to be cannibalized if this were to go on. How's that going to affect the global picture here?
Right. So my first point is that the United States military is not designed to fight a 21st century war. Remember, the military-industrial complex came to being after World War II and was designed to fight the Cold War. And the Cold War was really about muscle flexing, about who was able to send people up into space, who was the first to get the person on the moon, who had the more complex missile systems. And so the entire American military strategy revolves around very sophisticated technology that costs a lot of money to build. And that's what the American air defense system is basically. And that's why we're seeing this asymmetry, as you point out, in this war, where you have these $1 million missiles trying to take out these $50,000 drones. And it's not sustainable in the long term. And so what we're seeing is really the puncturing of the aura of invincibility and invisibility that sustained American hegemony for the past 20 years, especially after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And this is really a reordering of not just the global economy, because this signals the collapse of the petrodollar, and with it, the entire U.S. dollar-based reserve currency system, but also the global hegemony of the United States. We're moving towards a multipolar world.
Professor, this morning, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was asked a question about potential ground troops in Iran.
That's what I'm talking about, the ground troops.
That possibility. And he said, oh, well, we're not going to project to you what we will or will not do, but we don't want to, rule anything out. We will do what it takes. Do you think that America will end up invading Iran from the ground, since it's already becoming relatively clear they won't be able to accomplish the goal of regime change or even regime collapse using just air power alone?
You see, that's the problem. That's the part that's really concerning, is about whether they send ground troops into this war. If they do that, then it's gonna be really messed up. It's gonna be really messed up.
Right. So everyone says that the worst calamity that could happen in the United States is if it were to send ground troops into Iran.
You don't
At the
want
same
that.
time, the United States are committed to regime change in Iran. We've never had a precedent in history where you were able to regime change from the air alone. You need ground troops.
Yep.
And so unfortunately, what's going to happen over the next few months is that pressure will build on America to send ground troops, especially from the GCC countries and from Israel, which are being pounded right now by the Iranians. So remember that if the GCC countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, if they go, then the petrodollar goes with them. So the Americans need to protect these countries, and these countries are going to demand that
Those are petrodollar countries.
The Americans bribe the Iranians to cease, and this is like $5 trillion in indemnity, okay? Or send ground troops to wipe out the Iranian threat once and for all. And I know that there's no political will for ground troops to be used against Iran among the American people. But remember that 78% of American people was against initial strikes against Iran in the first place.
Right. And one of the things that really comes into question, I think, with all of this, sir, when we're looking at the geopolitical picture and the sacrificing in much of this from the United States on behalf of Israel, is kind of a question as to who and what wanted this. We were actually curious for your view on a disputed report here from the Washington Post. We can put it up here on the screen, F3. A push from the Saudis. Israel helped move Trump to attack Iran. Now, this has been internally disputed by Saudi Arabia, saying that they did not push the Trump administration to attack Iran. However, this is clearly an authorized leak from our own government, trying to at least lay some of the blame on behalf of the GCC. What do you make of this analysis and of this narrative that Saudi Arabia was also trying to be behind this push to bomb Iran?
So I've always argued that both Saudi Arabia and Israel are heavily invested in regime change in Iran. In fact, Saudi Arabia sees Iran as much more of an existential crisis than Israel. Because remember, Israel still has nuclear weapons, and Israel is a very diverse,
they have nuclear weapons.
Whereas Saudi Arabia is completely reliant on oil. And it's always had problems with Iran because Iran is a theocracy opposed to the Saudi monarchy.
Right.
Iran funds and equips the Houthis, which have been antagonistic towards Saudi Arabia for the longest time. And right now, the Saudi economy is suffering. It's been trying to pivot towards more of a tourist economy. That's why they brought in Ronaldo. That's why they're switching to e-gaming. That's why they're building something called a line, NEOM. And all these things are not working out. So they need to be able to control
I'll tell you in a minute, Smooth Life,
of the entire Middle East if they survive and thrive as a nation. So I do believe that this reporting is credible, even though it does make Saudi Arabia look bad. But remember, Saudi Arabia says that they wanted peace, but they are helping the Israelis and Americans attack Iran right now because they're allowing the Israelis and Americans to use Saudi airspace.
So help us understand, because it still feels to me like there's some pieces that don't totally add up. You had, in advance of this war on Iran, you had top military brass up to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying, this is a really bad idea. We are not ready for this. All the math on the interceptors that's been talked about for months at this point. And yet Trump still...
Okay, this is the last part I want y'all to hear what he's getting ready to say. This is extremely important. I'm getting ready to tell y'all something that y'all don't know either. This is very important. Listen to this part. Y'all stay here this far. Listen to what he's going to say. And this is the part nobody pays attention to. Okay? I'm going to hit it home. So make sure y'all stay and listen to what he's getting ready to say.
Decided to go ahead. What is the calculus that he was making here that led him to take what already appears to be catastrophic actions?
Right. Okay. So this is the key question. Why do they do this? I think there are three possibilities. Okay. And I think all three possibilities are valid. The first is that of hubris. If you look at history, this is how empires behave.
Yeah.
So the Mindoro kidnapping was quick, successful, and it was adrenaline rush for Trump. And that made him overconfident in the capacity of the American military. Okay, so hubris is a factor, and we see this throughout history. Why did Hitler invade Stalin? Because he conquered Europe really easily, and he thought he was invincible, right? And that led to the destruction of the German army in the Soviet Union. So hubris is a factor. Then you have to look at internal political calculus, where even though America does not benefit from this war against Iran, Trump himself personally benefits. Why? Because the Saudis and Israelis are bribing him to attack Iran. Remember that the Saudis invested $2 billion in the private equity fund of Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law of Donald Trump. And the Israelis, through Miriam Adelson, have been financing Trump's political career. Right? So Miriam Adelson, a few months back, said that she will put up $250 million if Trump were to run a third term.
You hear that?
So Trump...
You hear that? Did you guys get that? Did you hear what he just said? This is the part I wanted y'all to hear. Did y'all just hear that? Okay, let me ask you guys this question. I'm going to end this live. And this is very important. I'm going to tell you. I got this apartment, right? I got this apartment. Every year, I sign a lease. Stay with me now. Stay with me. I'm getting ready to bring this home. I signed a lease. So suppose I go to the office. I signed the lease. Say, okay, I have a lease to be here for another year. And they sign a lease. But I come back to you all and say, guess what? I'm getting ready to take up the carpet. I'm getting ready to put down new floors. I'm getting ready to repaint the walls. I'm getting ready to put new towels in the bathroom. I'm getting ready to put a new bedroom set. I'm getting ready to put a new bathtub, redo the sink and all that. What would be the first thing that would come to your mind? Anybody can answer that question. What would you think if I did that? Marcus, are you there? Anybody? Chris? What would you think? I have a 1-year lease and I'm doing all this stuff to this apartment. What would you think? Can anybody answer that question in the comment section? I'm going to wait for a minute. Anybody want to answer that question? Anybody there? Hello? Okay, thank you, Marcus. You don't even want to answer the question. If I did something like that, the first thing would probably come into your mind that I'm not leaving, that we're going to be here a very long time. Right, absolutely, absolutely. It's a waste of money. Right, absolutely. But if I did something like that, some of y'all probably would think he's planning on being there for a while. Okay? So what I'm trying to tell you, Donald Trump just destroyed, I think, the east wing of the White House to build a $340 million ballroom of the White House. $340 million. So let me ask you a question. Do that sound like a president that's only going to be in office for 4 years? That he's going to build an extra wing on the White House for $340 million? A ballroom? This guy just told you that they're preparing for him to be there a third term. I've been, and guess what? He's going to be there. He's not leaving. They are preparing him for a third term, probably even longer. Yep. See, people don't pay attention. So this professor, he connected the dots. He connected the dots. A long time ago, he connected those dots. And I've seen the dots too, because the first thing came to my mind, like, wow, why he's building that ballroom? It costs $250 million. Yup. He's not planning on leaving. So they've been planning this for a while. They've been talking about this for a while. So this is the whole reason for this whole thing. We are not going to have a midterm election. I guarantee you that either. It's not going to be one. Ladies and gentlemen, only thing I say is put your trust in God. Put your trust in God. Because we are in for a rough ride. He said, let me play this one more time. I want y'all to hear it again, what he said. Just a little small part.
Some pieces that don't totally add up. You had, in advance of this war on Iran, you had top military brass up to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying, this is a really bad idea. We are not ready for this. All the math on the interceptors that's been talked about for months at this point. And yet Trump still decided to go ahead. What is the calculus that he was making here that led him to take what, already appears to be catastrophic actions?
Right, okay. So this is the key question. Why did they do this? I think there are three possibilities, okay? And I think all three possibilities are valid. The first is the idea of hubris. If you look at history, this is how empires behave.
Yes.
So the Mindoro kidnapping was quick, successful, and it was adrenaline rush for Trump. And that made him overconfident in the capacity of the American military. Okay, so hubris is a factor, and we see this throughout history. Why did Hitler invade Stalin? Because he conquered Europe really easily, and he thought it was invincible, right? And that led to the destruction of the German army in the Soviet Union. So hubris is a factor. Then you have to look at internal political calculus, where even though America does not benefit from this war against Iran, Trump himself personally benefits. Why? Because the Saudis and Israelis are bribing him to attack Iran. Remember that the Saudis invested $2 billion in the private equity fund of Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law of Donald Trump. And the Israelis, through Miriam Adelson, have been financing Trump's political career, right? So Miriam Adelson, a few months back, said that she will put up $250 million if Trump were to run a third term. Trump is getting a lot of financial and political support from the Saudis and Israelis. Also remember that if this war goes sideways and Trump is forced to use ground troops, he will probably get approval from Congress, and this will give him emergency war powers, which will allow him to influence the midterms. So Trump...
You hear that? This is going to cause some... I told... Oh, my God. I told you guys that now he could be able to influence the midterm. There's not going to be no midterm election. It's not going to be a midterm election.
Thinking about a third term. And I think at the ballot box, he probably won't get it. But if there's a war going on and you can delay elections and you have emergency war powers and people rally around the flag, then he probably will get a third term. And the last factor that is very important is the anthropological factor, where if you look at the Epstein files, it's clear that we are run by secret societies. It's clear that the world is run by these individuals who have a lot of power. We don't know who they are, but they control the military. They control the national security apparatus. And these people, there are different names for these people. You can call them the Illuminati. And the Illuminati are composed of three major groups. Okay, you have the Jesuits, who control the Vatican. You have the Septine Frankists, which control the modern state of Israel today. And you have the Freemasons, which control the national security apparatus of the United States. And they believe that Israel, this war in the Middle East, is key to the end times in creating heaven on earth. So it's almost like a script that they're following, even though it doesn't make any geopolitical sense. Okay, so I would say that these three are the best reasons why this is happening.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, sir, I hope you come back. This was very informative, I think, for both of us.
There you go. He's getting prepared for a third term. Because during war, there's not going to be no election. They don't see this through, guys. Get ready. And he saw that he connected the dots years ago before even Trump even got into office. Now the professor is saying that he may be in there for a third term. Let me see. Let me find out how many presidents was in office for a third term. Hold on one second. Let me see. I think Roosevelt was in there in office for a third term. Let me see. Look here on the computer. How many presidents had a third term? Yep, Roosevelt. Yep, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Yep. Franklin D. Roosevelt was president of the United States from 1941 to 1945. Yep. Yeah, Franklin Roosevelt is the only president that served 3 terms. And Trump looks like he's going to be the next one. Yep. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be messed up, man. There were some presidents who tried to do it, but was unsuccessful. But Roosevelt was successful. Hold on one second. Yeah, because we had World War II going on at that time. That's why. Yep. Yep, this happened during World War II. That's why he was able to have 3 terms. Before the joint session of Congress on December 8th, 1941, President D. Roosevelt called the attack a day which will live in infamy. Later that day, the United States formally declared that the State Wars war existed between the United States and the Japan Empire. Yep. He said, after the Japanese attack in Pearl Harbor, President Roosevelt issued an executive order empowering the military authorization. Yep. Yep. Same playbook here. Same thing. Let's see here. Blah, 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 guys. Yep. So much for knowledge. Sounds like a 5th grade and racist. Yeah. Yep. Yep. So, okay, guys, I just wanted to leave you all with that information that's getting ready to happen. What's going on, man? Like I said, just get prepared, man. Just get prepared for what's coming. This summer is going to be lit up, man. But this is going to be, if this war continues, if they go through with this can end up nuclear. This can end up nuclear. Matter of fact, I just told you guys that Russia is doing drills right now. World War III drills. So we just got to get prepared, man. That's all I got to say, y'all. Okay. All right, man. I just wanted to jump back on here just to update you guys on what's going on. And do a favor for me. Make sure you like it and subscribe to my channel. And again, I'd like to say, Eric, thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Hope you guys got some out of it. Anything else come up, I would definitely let you know. Okay? All right, God bless. Peace. Thank you.